So Amazon's Crucible already going back to beta. Welcome to another video. We're going to take a look at this article about Amazon pulling Crucible, or rather sending it back to beta. Before we jump into that, I just want to say thanks for coming to check out the video. This is my second channel, my main channel, Game Tech Planet, where I do a lot of game testing and hardware testing. I look at cloud gaming services and cloud PC services a lot. If you're interested in that kind of thing, there will be a link in the description below. You can check out my main channel, but otherwise I will be putting out consistent content on this channel. It's just a fun place for me to come and go over any kind of news I find interesting about gaming, consoles, PCs, whatever the case may be, with that kind of stuff. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at this article. Amazon pulls boring big budget video game. Amazon has pulled its first major game release, putting it back into a testing phase after poor feedback from players. Free-to-play shooter Crucible is now being put back into closed beta, a pre-release stage with a limited number of players. Current players will be part of the beta, but new players will be unable to download the game without an invite. So if you've been playing the game all along, chances are if you've already got it and you've been playing it, you can still play it. But if you're a new player coming, you're just going to have to wait or get an invite to come check it out. Honestly, you're not really missing a lot. Amazon said it had listened to player feedback and would continue to make the game better. In May, when the game was about to be released, Amazon Games Vice President Mike Frazzini told the BBC company wanted to make games that resonate with a very large audience of players, which Crucible just really isn't that game. I did a couple tests on the game just to see how it ran on an RTX 2060 and things like that. I didn't have really big technical issues with it running or anything, but the game itself, just after playing a few rounds, I really just didn't care to go back to it. Ultimately, players will get to decide whether or not we succeed. Ultimately, we don't know how good it is until it gets out there. And I don't know. I kind of find it hard to believe that through a lot of testing and with the money that they have, they couldn't get a kind of a read on how this game was going to do when they released it. But Crucible is a team-based competitive PC shooter which entered a crowded market on its release. It uses a hero-centered roster concept with which is dominated by Blizzard's Overwatch and a third-person viewpoint and free-to-play model similar to Fortnite. Call of Duty Warzone has become a major player in recent months, while the much-anticipated Valorant released in June, and Ubisoft is expected to announce its own contender, a free-to-play battle royale shooter, in the coming days, which they did. That's Hyperscape. They announced that today. IGN's review began by declaring the game like a monster assembled from dismembered design ideas from the world of esports, criticizing its lack of focus. PC Gamer, meanwhile, criticized the game's technical performance and boring gameplay. Weeks after its release, Crucible's developers published a blog acknowledging some of the negative feedback and admitting that there are features that we need to add as a top priority. That was followed up by the announcement that the team was putting the game back into closed beta. Deciding to pull the game from the general release is rare, but not unheard of, and some games have gone on to major success after a rocky launch. Now, honestly, Anthem should have been one of those games that after it came out, it should have went back in so that they could have reworked it and re-released it instead of leaving it out all this time. We know like Anthem 2.0 is coming. It may become a great game. Who knows? I will check it out when they relaunch it, but that's a perfect example of a game that should have went back into beta. So maybe this will actually work out for Crucible. In its current state, I didn't really have any reason to go back and play it. Final Fantasy 15, a multiplayer online RPG, famously launched to terrible reviews, and its developers made the unprecedented decision to write a story leading up to an apocalypse which shut the game down. It later re-released a hugely changed version of the same game to critical success. Yeah, I remember them basically pulling that game and then re-releasing it. And Fortnite began as a mildly successful survival shooter game. Its landmark Battle Royale mode was added after release, going on to become one of the most popular games of all time. Amazon is due to release its other tentpole game from another of its studios' online role-playing game, New World, in August. But unlike Crucible, it will not try to attract players by being free to play, with the standard edition of the game currently on sale for €35. So New World is definitely one of those games. I know quite a few people that are checking it out. I'm sure I'll give it a go, but I definitely was not impressed with Crucible, and I think putting this back into beta could be the right choice. Like, you know, it worked for Final Fantasy. It wasn't really going back to beta, but they kind of pulled it and relaunched it. Like I said, Anthem should have been one of those games. I think it would have helped that game tremendously. Just go ahead and pull it for a while, but they didn't. And then, of course, like, yes, Fortnite. I remember that when it came out. I remember when the Battle Royale got released, and back then they were a pretty new thing. So, all right, guys, thanks for coming to check out this channel. Crucible back in beta. If you haven't already tried it, chances are it's going to be hard to get in now, but honestly, you're not missing a lot. So thanks for checking out the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Click that notification bell. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave me your comment down below letting me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.